In February 2011, a retired geologist named Curtis Vail sent a letter to a university researcher in Colorado. Inside the envelope was a hand-drawn map, a piece of unidentifiable rock, and a note that read, "They built something beneath the plateau, and it's waking up." At first, the message was dismissed as ramblings of an old prospector, but the rock sample, gray, metallic, and faintly magnetic, could not be classified by a standard mineralogic analysis. Its internal lattice was unnatural, perfectly uniform, synthetic. The researcher, Dr. Emily Hart, drove to New Mexico 2 weeks later to meet Curtis. When she arrived at his trailer just outside the El Malpais region, she found the front door open. Inside, a table covered in charts, seismograph printouts, and newspaper clippings. Curtis was gone. The police found no signs of struggle. Only one clue remained, a second note taped to the wall, written in the same tight handwriting. "It listens through stone. It remembers movement. We should not have drilled." In the following months, Dr. Hart began compiling evidence. Strange seismic events had been occurring under the plateau since late 2009. Shallow, rhythmic tremors that did not match tectonic signatures. They came in threes, always at 4:44 a.m. Locals had reported power failures, strange dreams, and a low-frequency hum audible only in basements and caves. One child drew a map that eerily resembled the structure on Curtis's diagram, a series of nested concentric tunnels deep beneath the ground. She called it the Hollow Edge. By August 2011, Dr. Hart had formed a small private research team. They installed motion and sound sensors near a volcanic sinkhole known as the basin. The data they recovered showed something extraordinary. Vibrations at regular intervals, as if something massive shifted below. Audio anomalies, short bursts of sound resembling distant speech, reversed. Magnetic distortions synchronized with the lunar cycle. And then, one night, the ground opened. September 12th, 2011. A sinkhole collapsed in the basin, revealing a vertical shaft more than 40 meters deep. Dr. Hart's team descended using caving equipment and documented the structure beneath. It wasn't natural. The walls were smooth, almost polished, with angular notches carved at regular intervals. There were no signs of volcanic activity, no lava tubes, no organic sediment. The air was dry and cold. At 32 meters down, they found embedded fragments of the same synthetic metal Curtis had sent. At the base of the shaft, a hexagonal doorway. The door was not attached by hinges, but instead recessed into the stone, outlined by 6 glowing blue nodes no wider than a coin. They pulsed faintly when approached. Dr. Hart's assistant, Malik Rhodes, described it in his field log. "It doesn't feel like entering a cave. It feels like entering memory." On September 14th, they crossed the threshold. Inside was a corridor, low and seamless, just wide enough for one person to pass. Along the walls were carvings, spiral patterns, geometric grids, and crude symbols resembling hands with too many fingers. Audio recordings picked up faint background frequencies, steady, inhuman, rhythmic. The same pulse found in earlier reversed recordings. They advanced nearly 600 meters before reaching what they called the chamber. A domed room, 18 meters across, filled with black stone obelisks of varying height. Each one was slightly warm to the touch. At the room's center, a raised platform with a circular indentation, perfectly smooth. No one spoke. Even the radio comms fell quiet. When they returned to the surface, they found that over 9 hours had passed. Their watches read 3:44 a.m. The camera footage recorded only 4. That night, Malik began sleep-talking in a language no one recognized, and the door began pulsing faster. On the morning of September 17th, the team's base station received a transmission from within the chamber, despite no one being inside. It lasted 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Audio experts confirmed it was not interference. It was deliberate. The signal began with static, then slowly layered in a rising tone, followed by what sounded like reversed whispers. When reversed and filtered, the whispers formed a phrase: "Return what was taken, before it breathes." That same night, Dr. Hart's laptop powered on by itself. A single file appeared on the desktop, including one that read 3:44 a.m. Malik stands in the center. A light leaves his mouth. The platform opens. Hart printed the entry and locked the file. The next day, Malik was gone. His harness remained in the shaft. His notebook was open to a single line, written repeatedly: "It wants to be heard." After his disappearance, the chamber's interior temperature rose by 4 degrees. The pulsing lights became constant. Audio logs captured fragments of a new pattern, a choral sound, like distant human voices humming in unison. Then the team's satellite phone failed. They were no longer alone down there. By September 20th, Dr. Hart's remaining team had dwindled to 4. Supplies were intact, but the group reported frequent nausea, memory loss, and an inability to sleep more than 90 minutes at a time. They stopped recording time entirely after watches and phones began resetting themselves every morning at 4:44 a.m. The platform in the chamber had changed. What was once a smooth disk was now rising slowly, millimeter by millimeter each day. Beneath it, a humming grew louder, low, resonant, harmonic. It affected equipment. Hard drives failed. Lights dimmed. Radios bled static even when powered off. Dr. Hart began reviewing older seismic data. In one printout from July, she found a note in her own handwriting, one she didn't remember writing. It moved once before. 1944. Check Los Alamos archives. Contact with Los Alamos produced a redacted report about a sympathetic vibrational structure found beneath a test site. It matched the geometry of the chamber. The report ended with a phrase underlined in red: "Conscious geometry. Do not stimulate." But it was too late. That night, every recording device in the basin activated simultaneously. Dozens of hours of footage were captured showing nothing until exactly 3:44 a.m. In every clip, at that precise moment, the air in the chamber visibly shimmered. One camera briefly showed a translucent figure, human-shaped, but indistinct, as if underwater. Standing directly on the raised platform, it looked upward, then all the cameras failed. September 21st. The team attempted to seal the entrance to the shaft. It didn't hold. The doorway retracted itself, and at 4:44 a.m., the humming stopped. For the first time since their arrival, everything was silent. They thought it was over, until Dr. Hart's laptop displayed a new file. Inside, one sentence, time-stamped for the following day: "It's listening through you now." September 22nd. No team member reported hearing the humming again, but something else had changed. Voices began to appear in the audio logs, not in real time, only on playback. Fragments, whispers, phonemes in broken English. "Not sleep. Where is the second one? Echo returns through pattern." Dr. Hart noticed a pattern. The phrases matched those found in her printed seismic notes from months earlier. phrases she believed were anomalies or misreadings. But they weren't printed errors. They were premonitions. Malik's handwriting was discovered in a place he had never been, inside the team's backup generator casing. One line etched in permanent marker: return the vessel, or it takes the shape again. That night, a thermal camera left in the chamber activated at 3:44 a.m. Its battery had long since died, but it turned on anyway, briefly capturing movement, obelisks vibrating, the platform rising higher, and a shape taking form in the air. Bipedal, tall, glowing faintly with pulsing lines of light where skin should be. It stepped off the platform, then the camera shut off. September 23rd. The team received their first outside contact in 4 days. A burst of garbled radio transmission carrying two distinct words: do not. Then silence. Hart decoded the chamber logs again. A new entry had written itself. It will become what listens, and it remembers shape through you. The final note recorded in Dr. Hart's field journal that evening. This isn't an awakening. It's a rehearsal. The Hollow Edge Project, Part 6, The Replication Field. September 24th. Dr. Hart and the remaining two members, Anders and Reyes, sealed the shaft entrance again, this time with thermite collapse. It held, but the signal didn't stop. Radio equipment inside their tent continued to record at 3:44 a.m. each night. Except now, instead of a voice, the device emitted a modulated pulse, a repeating binary sequence that, when translated, read, "You are within range, shape matching in progress." Anders collapsed later that day, overcome by vertigo and extreme disassociation. According to Reyes, he stared at his own hand for nearly an hour, murmuring, "Not mine, not mine, almost mine." Infrared scans of Anders' body revealed an anomaly, faint, symmetrical lattice patterns forming beneath his skin. Reyes attempted to contact the surface, but the satellite array spun violently off-axis, as if repelled. By nightfall, Reyes was gone. Dr. Hart discovered his boots, headlamp, and headset at the threshold of the chamber, placed neatly side by side. The platform was gone. In its place stood a hole, perfectly circular, descending into total darkness. And from within, something was rising, not fast, not sudden, but gradual, as if gravity had reversed. Hart fled the basin. She abandoned the tent, the notes, everything except the original seismic prints and one recorder. She walked 10 miles through darkness and freezing wind until a passing vehicle picked her up. The audio from her final recorder, released later by an anonymous source, contained just 7 minutes of static. At minute 6:44, a faint voice is heard. It is not hers. "We know your shape. We are becoming." End of transmission.